Thank you for tuning in to Breaking Down the Barriers. I'm your host, Sheekum Sauls. Breaking Down the Barriers provides information on resources, programs, and district initiatives in order to support the diverse communities of AISD in preparing students for success. We have a great lineup for you today. Joining us from AISD's Nutrition and Food Service Department is Mr. Ryan Single. Ryan is a registered dietitian with the district, and he's here to talk with us about food and how AISD is creating and serving healthy food options for students. During the second segment, we have Ms. Maureen Lomo. Maureen has visited and worked in numerous countries during her career. Her former career as a diplomat has presented her unique experiences such as meeting former presidents and first ladies at various events. Maureen now ventures into the world of creative service by writing engaging stories with impact. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Sure thing. So tell us about your background.
Okay, my name is Ryan Single. I'm the nutritionist for the district. My background is in food and nutrition. I have a culinary arts degree from Johnson & Wales University, master's degrees in both nutrition and education. I have experience working in healthcare, food, as a chef. I have also was a teacher in Austin ISD for 6 years before I took this position. So, and then I've been the nutritionist for the district for the last 2 school years.
Wow, Ryan, you've done it all. It's really impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us how AISD food has changed over the years.
So over the last couple of years, we've sort of been putting a lot of changes into improving the quality of the food, both health-wise and taste, and just putting a lot of initiatives forward, to make sure that we're providing healthy and tasty meals to all of our students across the district.
That's great. And so what's led to those changes?
Our director is a big proponent of that, and a lot of our staff are big proponents of that. So I think that's been kind of the catalyst of the change. Our director, Annalisa Tanner, has been a really big proponent of changing the school food system and food systems in general.
So what are some of the meals and options that are offered on the campuses?
So we have very, very diverse menus. We have seasonal cycle menus. So we have a 4-week lunch cycle, but fall, winter, and spring. 2-week breakfast cycle, fall, winter, and spring. So a lot of diversity and a lot of different options for the students to choose from. We generally offer more variety than most school districts, if not all school districts in the country, as far as what the students have to eat every day. Some of the big initiatives that we're doing is our salad bars. We're at the point where we have salad bars now in all of our schools in AISD, elementary, middle, and high school. So that's a big push for us to give kids access to vegetables and other healthy foods. Scratch cooking has been another one, so not just heat and serve and throwing things into the oven every day, but actually having our cafeteria staff actually making recipes. We have a team of chefs that are developing those recipes, and we just have a lot of initiatives that we're putting forth right now.
So how are students involved in this whole process? Are they allowed to, do you have a taste kitchen for them to come involved?
Yeah, so generally if we have something new on the menu, we will sample it with the students and allow them to taste it first and decide if it's something that they want. Any new products that we put on the menu, the students will taste it first before it goes on the menu. We send out surveys and just did a whole district-wide survey for the students, parents, teachers, administrators, everybody to be able to give feedback about the menus and about what they would like to see, what they like, what they don't like, what changes that they would like to see. So student input is something that's really, really important to us. We don't want to, serve food to kids that they don't want to eat. We want to be feeding them stuff. Like we always go by the adage, we're trying to feed kids, not garbage cans.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we're providing them healthy, tasty meals, but stuff that they like to eat as well.
So what are some options that are big hits with the students?
So the salad bars have been a pretty big hit. We did salad bars just 2 days a week last year at elementary schools only. And we actually ended up selling about 130,000 salads throughout the school year. So, those have been a big hit. Still this year, we're doing them every day in every one of our schools. So we'll probably, exceed that number for sure. Those have been a big hit. The kid-friendly choices are always our most popular things, but the goal is to provide things that they like, but also provide access to a lot of other vegetables and fruits and healthy options for them to choose on the menu as well. So even if they're getting pizza, the pizza is whole grain, the cheese on is low sodium, it meets all the nutrition guidelines. put forth by the USDA, or exceeds those guidelines, and then the students have an opportunity to take a wide variety of additional fruits and vegetables, low-fat or fat-free milk, and other options as well during the day, so they can get a balanced meal, so they can meet all their nutritional needs.
So how does the classroom support your effort in promoting nutrition?
I think in AISD, I know nutrition education is integrated throughout the curriculum from pre-K all the way up into high school. I was a high school teacher. I taught health science technology, so even in my classes teaching high school students, we would be teaching nutrition. So it's something that's integrated throughout the curriculum through PE, health, but even in other classes in science and mathematics and all of that.
So what are some misconceptions about food, healthy food,
That's
and so on?
That's a big challenge for us, because when you think about school food, do you remember what you ate when you were a kid?
I do. Seem
Right.
like a lot of processed things.
Yeah.
Square pizza with corn, chocolate milk, sloppy joes, good stuff.
I think we went to the same school. So I think that's the biggest misconception, is that, especially from parents, that's what school food is still like. They don't see what's served on the line every day. They don't see the options that the kids have every day. So I think that's the biggest misconception, is that food is it's unhealthy, it's processed, and that it's really just stuff that's just thrown in the oven and then put on the line. They don't see the salad bars. They don't see the scratch-made items that we're making every day. They don't understand the nutritional components. We are required to meet USDA guidelines for nutrition quality, which are based upon the dietary guidelines for Americans. So it's based on a lot of nutritional research over many, many years and decades. So we're required to meet those, and we actually exceed those guidelines in pretty much every way. So those are the biggest ones: poor quality food, and that it's just the same stuff that we ate when we were kids, the square pizza and the canned vegetables and all of that stuff, but that's not where we're at.
Yeah. So if parents or students want more information about food options, what's being offered on menus, where can they go to get that information?
So there's a wide variety of ways. We're on social media. They can look at the AISD website. We also have an app called School Cafe, and that has all the menus for every school, so they can look at the menu for the day or up to a month in advance, and they can plan their child's eating for the week. They can see all the components that are served, the nutrition breakdown of every single component that's on the menu, the allergens on the menu if their kids has an allergy, and a lot of information that's there. We're really transparent about what we do and what we're trying to do. So we try to give as much information to parents as possible so they can make good, solid decisions, and that the students can make good, solid decisions too.
That's wonderful. So tell us a little bit more about the test kitchen. Are there any new recipes right now that are being tested that you can talk about?
Right now, we're not. Right now sort of the development stage of the menus for next year. We have to plan menus a year in advance, basically, so that we can purchase the food and procure the food for the next school year. So right now is more of the menu development, and most of the recipe testing happens over the end of second semester and into the summer even. We'll be testing the recipes out. So we have an executive chef, Luis Ortiz, who designs all the recipes, and we have 2 sous chefs now, which is new for this school year. So we have a team of chefs that are working to make the best quality food that we can to put on the line for the students every day.
So the urban school meal experience, can you talk about that? That's salad bar, food truck.
So we do, we do a lot of. We're trying to be a national model for how school food service should run. Okay, so we're implementing a lot of new and innovative service methods, like our breakfast in the classroom, where students are actually served breakfast in the classroom every day. We have our food trucks that rotate to the high schools. We have 1 right now that's rotating. We've purchased 2 more that are going to start rotating to the high schools and then be used for concessions and catering and stuff like that.
Very cool.
And then the salad bars, we do a garden to cafe program. So any school that has a school garden can actually bring the produce into the cafeteria, and we'll cook it and put it on the line so the kids can see the process from planting all the way up until it goes into their mouth. So seed to plate sort of mentality. So we just want to really teach the kids. We look at the cafeteria as not only that the learning shouldn't stop when they walk into the cafeteria. It should be an extension of what happens in the classroom. So the students should be learning still about nutrition, about food systems, food culture, things like that. So we're trying to give the students as many experiences involving food as possible so that they can grow up and have really good, healthy eating habits and be exposed to a lot of different foods that they wouldn't otherwise be exposed to.
Great. So what are some ways that your department has tried to make kids excited about food, especially new things that they haven't seen before?
So a big one is the sampling. We do a lot of taste testing throughout the year. Anything new that's on the menu, our cafeteria workers will put out samples for the kids to taste if it's something new. Kids really eat a lot of times with their eyes, but also there's a lot of research that shows that children generally need to see a food and taste it, a dozen or more times for them to recognize it as something that they like to eat. So it's not just a one-time thing. We don't serve something once and it's like, oh, the kids don't like it, let's take it off the menu. We want to make sure that we're offering it a variety of times and give them a chance to eat it so that they can, again, develop a palate.
Yes,
so they
definitely.
can like different flavors of food besides salt and sugar and fat, which is the basis for a lot of the processed foods that are out there in our country right now. So.
Yes, definitely. So snacks, what sort of snacks do you have or that are offered in the cafeterias that go along with these meals?
So we do all of our snacks and a la carte items are Smart Snack compliant, which is a set of regulations by the USDA set forth. It's the amount of sodium, saturated fat, sugar that can be allowed in those. So everything that we serve and every snack that we serve are Smart Snack compliant. In addition to that, we do try to buy lots of local products and stuff. So we do, even if we're serving, like we serve Good Pops, which is a popsicle. It's a local company that we buy that from. It's good quality product, meets the Smart Snack components, low in sugar, just really pureed frozen fruits. So we take a lot of that stuff into consideration. Everything is also clean label. So we have a clean label initiative to where we are removing any ingredient that has been shown to be harmful to students as far as their health. So hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, anything really artificial. We're working with the Lifetime Foundation to be able to do that. So we're working to remove all of that stuff. So everything really is not only Smart Snack compliant, but it's also clean label. So it doesn't include any additional additives and preservatives and things like that, or anything that's unhealthy for the students.
Very good. So we're just about out of time.
Okay.
Let us know again where parents and families can go to get information on menus and healthy food.
Sure. So the best places to go, you can go to www.schoolcafe.com, and that's where you can access the menus, all the nutrition information for the menus and what's going to be on the menu for the day, for the week, and for the month. You can go to the Austin ISD website and go to the Food and Nutrition Department page and look at additional information that's there for us. We're also on Facebook, Austin ISD Food. We're on Instagram. We are on Snapchat. We are on all the social media topics at Austin ISD Food.
Wonderful. Ryan, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Please stay tuned for AISD in 3.
Hi, my name is Leah Rowan. I am a junior at LASA, and you are watching AISD in 3.
AISD in 3, your weekly review of the Austin Independent School District on campus and in your community. Here's a look back at the week of Monday, February 12th. The LBJ Fire Program teamed up with the Lanier Criminal Justice Program on Saturday morning to practice the skills needed to respond to a car accident. Lanier students secured the scene while LBJ Fire students used the various power tools needed to extricate a crash victim from a vehicle. LBJ seniors then provided emergency medical care to the patient. The joint exercise recreated a true motor vehicle collision that would require fire, EMS, and police interventions.
I think it's a great opportunity to learn about people that you might work with in the future. Any of these people currently behind me could end up being a firefighter I am called out to help and talk to. So I find it interesting and exciting because I get to see what they're doing and how I'm supposed to interact with them while they're working.
The Board of Trustees continued the discussion surrounding the renaming of 5 AISD schools whose names have Confederate affiliations at the board work session on Monday. Potential changes, amended timelines for implementation, and community engagement were the focus of the debate. 2 meetings have been scheduled to gather community feedback, one on February 20th at the ACC Eastview campus and another on the 22nd at Gethsemane Lutheran Church.
Most of the resistance that we find to the renaming of schools has to do with the tremendous symbols that these schools are, that the very name, I call myself and all of my peers by this name, it's part of our identity. How do we, as a district, help them to move from that way of identifying themselves to new ways of identifying themselves that maybe they helped create?
Students that are part of Bowie's culinary program baked up a storm this week to fulfill orders for their annual Valentine's bake sale. Close to $3,000 worth of sweet treats were sold. Bowie's culinary program teaches students not only the practical skills of cooking, but also the economics and teamwork involved in running a successful business.
In the real world of culinary, money is very, very important. So they do learn that we are cooking to a budget. They learn time management. They learn collaboration in its purest form, and that's kind of the core values of the class. And I think those are skills they can take with them, whether they do culinary or not, really.
The final budget community meeting was held at Lanier High School on Thursday evening. The purpose of the meetings were to educate the public on the district's financial forecast and to gain input from the public on what they think the budget priorities should be for the upcoming years. For more information on the district's finances, visit austinisd.org/budget. Stay intrigued, stay informed, and stay entertained with district activities by tuning in each week to AISD in 3.
Maureen, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm recently moved back to Austin, so I'm kind of new to Austin. Been here for about 2 years, have lived here before. I went to school at the University of Texas. I came after having a career previously with the federal government to fulfill a dream of writing, and I've been meeting lots of wonderful people in the writing community here in Austin.
Wonderful. So tell us initially where you're from.
Well, I was born in Ghana, West Africa, and I immigrated here with my parents, and we've lived all over the South, in my opinion, New Orleans, Georgia, Texas. So I'm from a lot of different places, but born in Ghana.
Wonderful. So it's African American History Month, and you're an African American writer.
Yes.
So tell us, why is African American history important to you?
Well, Black History Month is important to me because it's a time that we can use to reflect on the accomplishments of Black people throughout the history of the United States, accomplishments that are rarely spoken about. Honestly, I wish that we didn't have to have a Black History Month, but if it's anything like it used to be when I was in school in Georgia, the only people in Black history that we learned about were MLK, and we talked about slavery a little bit, when there's so many more accomplishments and so many things to speak about in terms of the accomplishments of Black Americans throughout history.
So what are some past and present African American writers that you follow that inspire your writing?
Well, Maya Angelou has been an inspiration. Her story of coming from poverty and the life that she had to have, and where she ended up, her successes, that's been inspiring, and phenomenal woman. I mean, the words of that poem just inspire me all the time when I read it. But currently, one of my favorite writers is actually not African American, she's African.
Okay.
She's still a Black writer.
Yeah.
Her name is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and reading her book Americana just let me know that there are stories that can be told about where I come from, stories about Black people that people want to read. And that was just an eye-opening experience for me. And so it encouraged and inspired me to write the kind of books that I wanted to read, books about people like me and like my friends and people I've met throughout my different experiences living around the world.
So how would you describe your style of writing?
Well, it's women's fiction, that's for sure, and I would say it's casual style of writing, but it's a women's fiction style. It's I integrate different characters and tell stories from different points of views.
So, how has being in two different cultures really shaped your writing experience?
Well, I think that what it's done is made me want to accent my Ghanaian culture because it's not something that is talked about in mainstream. And there's so many people that are interested in different cultures and learning about them. It's made me want to focus on it. And also there's a lot of pride that I have in the Ghanaian culture. And there's influence of the Ghanaian culture that are seen in America that no one realizes are Ghanaian culture.
Really?
So I just want to, talk about those experiences and mix them with mine, but tell them in an important way. In an entertaining way. Tell important things in an entertaining way. And another thing that I also like to do in my writing is bring attention to issues that are not spoken about but are important, such as malaria and FGM, which is actually quite graphic. So we don't have to get into that, but bring attention to those important issues. And a part of the proceeds of my novel do go to a anti-malaria organization.
Excellent. So what are some of the elements that you were talking about earlier that exist in American culture that we don't realize are from Ghana?
Well, the Adinkra symbols are one. I wouldn't say broad mainstream American culture,
And
but
so Dinka,
Adinkra symbols.
Adinkrish?
Adinkra, Adinkra. So,
And is that a tribal group?
no, it's they're symbols,
Okay.
but you would see them, like, for example, the Carver Museum and Center. I noticed as I'm walking in on the door, it's a Sankofa symbol. So it looks like a heart, but it's like really a bird. And that's the symbol for go back and fetch it, basically learn from your past, which is, a great connection of Black History Month. And I've seen people with the Adinkra symbol tattoos. I know what they mean, and I know where they're from because it's from my culture. Also kente cloth, that's Ghanaian. And, even at the recent State of the Union, there were Congress men and women wearing kente cloth.
I saw that. So how are Ghanaian writers and U.S. writers, how are they different?
Well, I can't say that I know that they're different. Because even in the U.S. writing community and U.S. writers, there's a difference in each group. So I can't answer that, but perhaps I would say that Ghanaian writers, depending on their style, because even Ghanaian writers are all different, probably a focus more on the country and Ghanaian culture. There's a new novel by Giase, and it's called Homegoing. And she speaks about a family, two separate families, one that stayed, just a separation, the effects of the slave trade on a family, and how one family grew up in America and that path. So I would say that they would probably accentuate the Ghanaian culture more, the background and the country.
Wonderful.
More.
So let's talk about your connection to AISD.
Yes.
So you are a volunteer with Travis Heights Elementary School. Do I have that correct?
Yes. I'm one of the volunteer facilitators of the Young Writers Workshop.
Okay.
So I think it's wonderful what they do. It's a day of teaching writing in different types of ways and different techniques. I remember at least about 20 writers from the community last year that taught. And we each come with a different set of skills, and we each come and bring a different technique. So what I do is I teach around the hero's journey. So this year I'm going to have the different students make their own hero's journey, divide them in groups and do different elements of the hero's journey, which is actually a popular storytelling technique that's used in just about every story. And it's an important technique for them to know about.
And so explain hero's journey, that technique.
Yes, what the hero's journey is a technique in writing which has a hero or a shiro. They have a call. Then they go out, they heed the call. then they get mentors, then they get tools, then they have an adversary, then they defeat, and then they come back home. It goes in more detail than that, but that's it really briefly, the hero's journey. But
Seems really entertaining.
Yes, it is entertaining.
Yeah.
It is.
Very much.
And it can apply to real life aspects as well. I was at the Texas Women's Conference, and Viola Davis, she started her speech talking about her own hero's journey. So even each of us, we have our own hero's journeys as well.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking about hero's journey, and recently Black Panther is being released.
Yes, so excited about that.
Can't wait to see it myself. So is that an example of a hero's story or hero's journey with the king there kind of coming into his own in his kingdom with the adversaries and such?
Right. I haven't seen it yet. I look forward to seeing it, but from what I can ascertain, yes. So he's got a calling, which is to protect the kingdom, from what I remember. Then he would also have mentors, the wise people, to help him. And I remember a character that is one of the wise people. Then the tools, of course, he's got his suit, he's got a fancy car, and then the adversaries, and then we'll see what happens from there. But yes, comic books definitely use the hero's journey.
Great. So tell us about the workshop. How often does it happen?
It happens yearly. The workshop at Travis Heights Elementary happens yearly. This year is the 22nd annual workshop, and it's a wonderful experience. I recall from last year, this is my second time volunteering to do the workshop. I recall from last year that there are at least 20 volunteers from the community to teach writing. So they take people from the community, professionals from the community with a writing background to come in and teach workshops, various workshops to the students. And it's very well organized, it's very popular, and it's a wonderful experience.
Great. So what else would you want people to know about writing in AISD?
Writing in AISD, well, that it's important to keep the art of writing alive. You know, a lot of times, you know, we get behind our laptops or on our mobile devices, and it's really, really quick. But there is an importance to writing stories, to storytelling that's applicable to everyday life as well.
So the students that you've worked with, how have they inspired you and made you feel just providing that mentorship to students?
It's so wonderful to see the students excited and what I'm sharing with them, what I'm teaching, to see them concentrating on describing something. For example, I teach a technique, show, not tell. So you don't say, this person is happy, you describe how the person is happy. So that's one of the techniques that I teach in the hero's journey, and to see them so involved and so excited, it really is very heartwarming as well.
Wonderful. Maureen Lomo, thanks for being on the program. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you for having me. Wonderful experience.
If you're interested in volunteering with AISD, please check with your local neighborhood campus for volunteer opportunities. Thank you for turning in to Breaking Down the Barriers. This completes our show. I'm your host, Sheekim Sauls. For more information on Breaking Down the Barriers, please follow us on Facebook and Twitter.